YouTubers, welcome to the channel. I decided to do a little video on my pedal board. I accumulated about 9 pedals so far in the last 4 or 5 months. Really enjoy using pedals now, and because it got out of hand, I had a stream of pedals across the ground. Thought it was time I invested some money and bought myself a pedal board. So I'm just going to go through the pedal board. I'm also going to show you each pedal I have. I'm also going to show you the order I put the pedals in and why I've chosen that order. I'll probably assemble it all quickly off camera and then just show you the finished product. Let's have a look at the pedal board that I bought and also the pedals that I own, and we'll go through them. Okay, so I decided to leave the camera like this instead of pointing it down onto the actual pedal board at the moment because it hasn't been assembled. So I'm going to basically just lift this up and show you what I bought. I bought the medium Voodoo Lab. This holds between 8 and 10 pedals, it says. So in the actual bag itself, if I pull this out, this is the pedal board, and on the back it says Dingbat. Now these holes here, this is for the power supply, which I'll show you in a minute. And basically, yeah, you can see it's a pretty decent size. I've had a bit of a test with laying the pedals on there, and I can tell you now, you can even get up to about 12 or 13 pedals, especially if you have some of those more mini pedals. What else do you get? So you also get this, which is basically 2 rolls of Velcro, some cable ties, some instructions, and there's a little metal bit here that could be for holding the power supply in. This is the one I chose, the 4x4, and in this you get, I'll show you this without it all falling out. There you go, you get your power supply, and underneath here you will get, that's your power supply, and in here you get all your leads, and then of course that's the power supply just over there. Okay, so I'm going to show you each pedal, and this is not in the order that I'm going to put them on the board, but I will put them on the board loosely, and then what we'll do is I'll go through why I've chosen that particular order. But let's have a look at all the pedals and we'll see how we go. I've got a Spark booster. This is a booster pedal, so what this does basically, it boosts your volume, and you've got your treble, your bass, and you've got gain as well. Super chorus. This is probably the only pedal that when I bought it I thought, well, I watched some reviews. You do use chorus. I haven't really mucked around with it a lot. It's got a lot of options on there. It got great reviews, and I needed a chorus pedal. This is the one I chose. Okay, so this next boss pedal here, this is a synth pedal. I'm trying to get this in the center. Okay, so this, some people say, oh, this is a very gimmicky type of pedal. It's probably, I think, my most expensive pedal, but I got it because me growing up in the 80s, and I remember like sci-fi movies and horror movies and things like that, all the weird sounds that'd be in the movies and that. This is probably the pedal they used, or something very similar. This is the last pedal I just bought only about a week ago, and it was between this one and the Canyon one, and I stopped on this one. It does have a looper on it, and which is great. Then you don't need a looper pedal, and it also is a delay pedal. This is my other Singapore pedal. So this is the only overdrive pedal I have. I don't have a distortion pedal. I'm thinking of getting the Mojo TC Electronics distortion pedal, but I don't play a lot of distortion, to be quite honest. I'm more of a kind of bluesy type of sort of sounds that I like, and the solos and things like that. But this is an overdrive pedal. It's called the Bohemian. Compression pedal, I love this one. It's got the chrome top on there. I've mucked around with the compression quite a bit. I think you really need to spend time with pedals individually and learn how to use them. I haven't learned how to use this effectively, I don't think, yet. Polytune, it doesn't really need any explanation. Otherwise, if you're going to get a tuner, I'd go for this one. I was playing Foxy Lady, and I didn't quite have that sound. There's just that opening solo for Jimi Hendrix, and I went online and I found this little Germanian fuzz pedal and absolutely love it. And it's it gives you that fuzz sound. So I do have a distortion pedal, I guess. I also got the little more shim reverb here. It's got shimmer, normal reverb, spring reverb, I should say. So that's pretty much it as far as things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt the camera onto the board, and I'm going to put the pedals down in the order, and I'm just going to quickly go through the order of the pedals and why I've chosen that order. Okay, so these are the pedals on the board. You should always put your pedals loosely on the board and decide exactly where they're going to go. I'll show you why I've got this order in a minute, and after they're on there, then you can and you're happy with the order and you know that's the way you're going to go, then you can start putting it together. So let's quickly just go through the order, and I'll show you why it's done. So this will be the first pedal, and I've started on the bottom row, not up the top, because I would imagine that I would use the tuner quite a bit every time I start, and also the drive pedals and things like that. So first pedal you should have, you should have your tuner first. I don't have any wah-wahs or volume pedals, so I'm just not that type of person. If I did have a wah-wah pedal, it'd probably be a separate pedal off the board anyway, because wah-wah pedals are so big and they take a lot of room. So the next pedal is the synth pedal, and the reason you put that at the beginning is because it needs a nice clean signal. Next is the fuzz. Again, germanium fuzz doesn't react too well with being further down the chain, so the best thing to do is keep that also right at the beginning. Then you can start with your drive pedals. Of course, I've got just one overdrive. I don't have any distortion pedals. If I did, I would have that next to the drive pedal. Okay, so compression. Now, some people would put the compression before the drives, and some people put it after, and some people put it really at the end as well. You've got to understand that it compresses the signal and it shortens the waves up. So if you put it before the drives, you're getting a compressed signal going into your overdrive pedal. But for me, I tested both ways, and I can tell you that when you've got the compression after, what happens is you get a nice clean overdrive signal, and then you compress that clean signal rather than the other way around. It doesn't really matter whether you go chorus or delay, but usually for me, I think chorus is better to be first off the rank when it comes to your modulations, and then you've got your delay pedal after that. If you have a tremolo, again, that would be kind of around here after the chorus. I have a tremolo on my amp, so don't really need one. Then I've got my reverb over here and in the end, and that would normally be most people's last pedal. And then you've got your spark booster. Now, this is the debatable one. You could put the spark directly after your overdrives, or even after your compression if you wanted to. The reason I put it here, and I tested this pedal along with the overdrive and the delay pedal, and what I did is I switched these two pedals over. So because I wanted to see if the booster is at the end of these two, how does it sound differently to the booster being before the delay but after the overdrive. And there was a little bit of a difference in decibels, maybe 1 or 2 decibels, so it wasn't a huge difference. At the end of the day, you've got to understand that what this thing does, it actually boosts everything up. So if you have it here, you're going to boost your overdrive, but you're not going to be boosting anything else. So it's my conscious decision to put it at the end, because I want, if I get the kind of sound I want using my overdrive and a bit of compression or maybe some delay or chorus or whatever, and I want that signal boosted, well, I want everything to be boosted, and I can add a little bit more gain through this, and also some bass and treble as well. It's got an EQ on it as well. So that's my decision to put it at the end, because as far as I'm concerned, this pedal here is a booster pedal, and it's designed to boost the entire signal. So that's the pedal order. So I'll just quickly mention, so if you can see here, this is Velcro that I got with one of these smaller pedals. So the soft side here is considered your loop side. That will go down on the board, and then you've got your hook side, which is the crunchy side. That will go on the back of the pedal, here. If you have little feet, you've got to take these off, otherwise you won't be able to effectively do it. So that's what I'm going to be doing. But with the soft side, the loop side here, it's a good idea to put it right across. 2 strips very close together that will fit the length of the board. So basically the strip will be about here and about here. The other thing also is just make sure you read all your power supplies for each one, how many milliamps you have for each one. So, and make sure that you connect everything correctly, so you don't put too many volts in some of these that only have 9 volts. So you got to be careful of that as well. Anyway, so that's the order I'm putting the pedals in, and I'm going to, off camera, kind of put it together, and hopefully it'll all work really well, and I'll show you when it's all kind of put together and wired, and I'll show you underneath and everything. So hopefully it'll work quite well, and we won't have any noise or any isolation issue. Okay, so I spent the last hour just putting everything together. I haven't plugged the power supply in or put the leads on. I just wanted to kind of stop here and show you what I did. Now, as you can see, there are 4 Velcro strips, 1, 2, and then another 2 here. It's important to put them right across the board, because if you just put little patches, what will happen is, first of all, you're going to be adjusting your pedals depending on the patch cables, and some of them are going to be closer than the others. As you can see, like the patch cable here is a lot easier and a lot smaller. So you know the gap between these 2 pedals is closer than the gap of these 2 pedals. When you do take a pedal off, if you only have Velcro just underneath, what will happen is eventually you might start coming off the board. It is very, very sticky. And also, you know, then whatever you do with your pedals, you know, you'll always have a cross, whether you want to get closer or further apart. So it's really important to do the Velcro across. But if I tilt it up, as you can see, they're not going to go anywhere. Give them a bit of a shake. I mean, if you shake it hard enough, I'm sure they will. There's the power supply in there. If I just turn this over just to have a bit of a look. Power supply, there was a little bracket that came with there, and then the other end actually screws to this ridge over here. This is that long patch cable I told you about. See how it just made it across, which is perfect. Probably designed that way for a medium pedal board. So again, that turned out to be really neat. Okay, so I've just spent the last half hour or so just getting all the pedals wired up, and I'll turn it upside down to show you. As I turn this over, you'll have a look underneath here. You get 10 inputs, but 2 of them are actually 12 volts, and that was the issue I had, and I'm not using those. You can kind of see they're empty. If I plug in a 9-volt pedal into the 12 volts, I could actually ruin the pedal. Even if it works straight away, it could eventually, the high voltage could burn it out. But if I had a pedal that was, say, 150 milliamps, I would then be using one of the high current 9 volts. So you've got a couple over here which go up to 400, and you've also got 2 more here. If I get a couple of more cables, I can daisy chain a couple of the pedals. So it's just a cable situation here, where if I get maybe 3 or 4 more daisy chain cables, I can then just use one of the 9 volts that has 400 milliamp, and I can put 3-4 pedals on it. As long as I stay under 400 milliamps, I'll be sweet. Okay, so there's the pedal board. Something happened when I turned it on. So the lead that came with it that had a red end, I'm not quite sure what was going on. I jacked it on the back of the polytune, and I was getting a really weird sound. Don't know if you can actually hear that. So when you hear the polytune, it goes completely quiet. You can tune. I'm trying to turn up too much. Just make sure it's not too loud. But this is the clean tone, and we'll just go to. Put the synth on, just a couple of notes. Synth's got a lot of different stuff. The fuzz. The overdrive. Why it's not working? Why isn't it working? Obviously the Bohemian is maybe the reason things are going a bit funny. So I might just turn the amp off and just give it separate power through this chain here, and just see what's going on. Alright, that little hissing sound I heard before, that is completely gone. Drive on, turn it down a bit. So drive compressor. Chorus. Delay. Reverb. It's got shimmer on it as well, so the shimmer's completely different. And as I said, if you hit the start, get rid of that. Put this back onto just normal. I'll just put everything on. This is just a spark. So you can see without the spark, it's. Everything goes okay. So it's been a couple of days since I actually built the pedal board, and I made a few changes and I did a few tests just to make sure all the teething problems were gone. So I'm just going to run through the issues I had really quickly and then just wrap up the video. So what I did is I just got it out of this particular room and I just put it downstairs in the lounge room where I had none of this other stuff going around, or I was worried about other interference. I just wanted a nice clean environment, and I just used a little practice amp with my Les Paul, which didn't have any noise coming from it. So I had a nice clean sound coming through the amp, and then unplugged the guitar obviously. Then I inserted the pedal board, plugged it all in, and I got no noise. So I was very happy with everything that was connected. However, I changed my reverb. I bought this today. This is the TC Electronics Hall of Fame 2. And I found that when I was using the little more, and I think this particular one may be damaged. I'm just going to ask for a refund. I got it on eBay. I don't want to say that this was a bad pedal, but this particular pedal was not functioning. In fact, when I hit the button, a whole bunch of hiss came through the amp. And that doesn't happen with any other pedals at the moment. So everything's on. So I'll give you an example. Like the amp's on and the volume's turned up, and I'm not getting anything coming through because there's a mic in front of the amp. So you might hear a bit of a clicking noise, but that's what you want. You don't want any of the pedals. That's your thing. Now this, nothing. So the other one, if I was to plug it in, trust me, it was awful. And the last one is the spark. And if I turn this particular one on and I strum, for example, got it on plate. Really happy with this actually. I mean, this was a nice little pedal. I don't want to bag it, but because this one was actually something's wrong with it, I don't think the volume was actually working. I decided rather than just ask for another one, I just asked for a refund, and I went and got myself the TC Electronics one. So I don't have a distortion pedal, and I could probably squeeze in a couple of other pedals in here. I might get a tube screamer and maybe a Mojo, which is a distortion pedal. But for now, everything's hooked up really well. Now, I will mention one more thing. This pedal and this pedal and this pedal, they're all on a daisy chain. So basically, I've used a daisy chain. I can't remember if I mentioned this previously in the video, but I'll mention it again anyway. So basically the daisy chain, you could hook up 3 pedals. You can get daisy chains with 5 as well. And they're all plugged into, I think this is 40. I can't remember what this is off the top of my head, but let's just say this is 40. So this will be 120 milliamps. So you wouldn't plug it into the 9 volt 100 milliamps, because then you wouldn't have enough milliamps, which means there'll be deficiencies in the pedals. It wouldn't wreck the pedals, but it would be deficiencies. So I think I've plugged, these 3 are all plugged into the 9 volt 400 milliamp. And that's pretty much it. So, like you've got your, and as soon as I hit the polytune, bang, I love this thing. It cuts everything out. And I don't know if you can see it in the video, but if I strum all the strings, it shows what's green or red or what's in tune. So that's pretty much the video. If you're going to build the pedal board, just and you find that you're getting noise, you shouldn't have any noise. It should be quiet. I heard someone say, you should never skimp on a power supply, and I think that's 100% correct. Watching, that pedal show, that was absolutely a very good piece of advice, because your power supply is everything, and if you got a shitty power supply, you are going to get isolation problems and you're going to get power problems. They require, the correct amount of voltage and milliamps to be effective as they were designed. So that's pretty much the video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask anything in the comments. If you watch the video, I hope it helps someone build a pedal board and successfully as I have. And if you do have problems, just isolate each pedal, maybe add one pedal, check it, and then add the second one, check it, the third one, check it, and just keep doing that. And if you come across something, then you'll know straight away what it is that you've just added on that's causing sound or hiss or anything. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching.